that is why you see dyslexic always try to do what? To use the Broca's area and some parts, okay, of the right hemisphere, which should not be. Because reading is basically a left hemisphere function. So dyslexic try to use their Broca's area. You see them, they'll be saying things. Okay, and now, or spell elephant. You see, they'll be verbalizing. I do not forget, I've told you that Broca's area is for planning to speak, and that's why they use the Broca's area, which should not be, and the right side of their brains, because the corpus callosum failed in its responsibility. That is one of the reasons why some students find it very difficult to read. Reading is a left hemisphere located activity. That's one. Now, what is dyslexia? And what is reading difficulty? Reading difficulty, or it is called reading disorder. Let's dyslexia.
You brought website, I said they should go and change it. Ever since then, the was uploaded or
what is
and
dyslexia?
it didn't come to me.
Before I define dyslexia, how many of us know that according to the Guardian newspapers, okay, they conducted a kind of a survey, and according to them, they said about 30 million Nigerians are dyslexic. That about 30 million Nigerians are dyslexic. Then in America, they said 1 out of every 5 learner is dyslexic. Then according to some international bodies, they said in every population, that about 30% of the population is dyslexic. Then in the United States, they discovered that about 50% of prisoners are dyslexics. 50% of prisoners in America are dyslexic. In Israel, 75% of prisoners are dyslexic. How many percent do you think are dyslexic in Nigeria? 90-something, yes. Somebody even said 99. Honestly, if you go to the prison yard, just like somebody just maybe proposed, about 90% of prisoners are dyslexic. They are individuals who cannot read and write, and they've left the education sector, and they're striving to make out a living, and they discover that yes, the only way that they can survive is to go into crime. So dyslexia destroys destinies, because the ability to write is the foundation of the education system. Whether you are an art, science, or a commercial student, you need this capacity, the ability to read, to write, to spell, and to comprehend maybe written content. That is why this topic, I'm not going to really rush it. Let's just take it one after the other. Now, dyslexia is simply an unexpected difficulty. Okay, it's just an unexpected, and you see them, very intelligent people. What happened that this person cannot read? Let me use Sekinat. When I was conducting that screening, I told the proprietress and the class teacher that these are my observation. Very, very intelligent, very, very articulate. But when I told her, despite this, wow, despite her, the show of her intelligence, but she could not really spell. So simply, dyslexia is an unexpected difficulty. Okay, in what? In reading, in spelling, and in writing. That is what dyslexia is all about. It is so unexpected. You'll be so shocked that this intelligent person. How come? So today I am pen. Proprietor, yes? Educator and what? Yes. Okay. We know we are neuroscientists, so we are educational neuroscientists or neuroeducator. People will say, Mr. Dale, so you mean I am a neuroscientist now? No. You are just a certified educational neuroscientist. So it is proprietor, educator, and neuroeducator. That is for school owners. So your proprietor today is going to be pen. After the training, that is after he has passed. No, not up yet. We're not starting. I think better perform. 25 topics, 25. And you must pass. Although if you pass and you have this, you don't need to be scared of job. You don't need to be scared that somebody is going to take your position. Because you are no longer an educator and what? You are now a pen, and for teachers you are 10. What is the full meaning of 10? Teacher. So back to yourself. A teacher, educator, and you are now a neuro. So you tell them that I am 10. I understand the connection between
dues and your certificate.
Honestly, nothing. The proprietress of Top Joy Academy, she heard about this course and she has been following me on Facebook. And she was about to relocate to the UK. She registered for the course. I had to add her. He said, I need this certificate. After the training, we did everything. So when I was about printing the certificate, I said, since you're taking it to the UK, can I change it to academy? He said, wait. What do you have on CAC website? I said, limited. So just leave it like that. I know that when I get to the UK, they would conduct their own research. And if they see academy, and you know those whites, they don't take anything, okay, they will disregard the certificate. So as I speak to you now, this certificate is in the UK. There is no tertiary institution that offers educational neuroscience. You have your phone. Even in Africa, there are only few universities. Even in America and other advanced economies, I think neuroscience courses have to do with, if you want to go for master's level, that's to tell you that you are part of just maybe 1% of the global population that is acquiring this knowledge. It will make you outstanding. So give it your all. So now, do not forget that there are basically two types of dyslexia. There are basically two types of dyslexia. The first one is called the developmental dyslexia, or this one. Okay, I'll do that. Dyslexia is simply an unexpected difficulty. It is so unexpected. It is an unexpected difficulty in what? In reading, in writing, in spelling, and above all, in comprehension. In comprehension. This people find it very anything that has to do with English language. If you remember when you were still in school, okay, when your lecturers are dictating in school, there are some of your mates, they don't want this note taking. Some of them will have mild dyscalculia. So it is so honest. The word there is unexpected, because people who are suffering from dyslexia, like I did a video. The title of the video is the dyslexic strengths or the dyslexic advantages. These people are extremely intelligent, but they are poor, okay, at reading, writing, spelling. They are extremely intelligent. As I speak to you now, international companies like Microsoft, like Google, okay, companies like Dell and others, they have vacancies. And what is the vacancy? That they want only people who are neurodivergent. There's something called neurodivergent. Yeah, we say everything is about neuro.
Inform you.
Okay. Who are the neurodivergent? They are individuals whose brain is different from your brain and from my own brain.
You have not got it. Okay.
So,
I know some are just joining. No new stuff here. Instead of the you have copy.
neurodivergent. You and I are neurotypical. You and I who can read and write, we are the neurotypical. We don't have our own brain. We use mainly our left brain. Yes, I will explain it. Neurodivergent and neurotypical. Then everything you come across, everything in then neuro.
Sorry, before that, you are
Neurodivergent.
about to mention types of dyslexia.
Yes, I'll come to that. But let me quickly take your case. I'll come to that. Okay, the neurodivergent are individuals, okay, who have different brain wiring. Okay, instead of using their left hemisphere for reading and writing, they try to use their right hemisphere because they are right hemisphere driven. That's why they have powers of imagination. Let me even shock you. Let me repeat this again. Please, any child who does not know how to read, write, and spell, that child is not a dunce. Neither is the child a dullard. But it is so unfortunate that most of us, because we are brain blind, we think that a child who does not know how to spell is unintelligent. The problem is that they are part of the neurodivergent community. The dyslexics, okay, the dyslexics, one, okay, the autistic, children who are suffering from ADHD, they are all part of these children with Down syndrome and others. I've been to St. Peter's, a specialist that was able to really interview some Down syndrome and autistic students. So they are all neurodivergent. Their brain is quite different from us. You and I who can write, we are left brain driven people. We know how to do logic. Okay, we are good at ability to write, to express ourselves. But this neurodivergent, they use their right brain. That's why they are thinkers. They have powers of imagination. Yes?
In that case, is it genetic?
Yes, I'm going to come to that. Very good. I'm going to really come to that when I begin to explain, okay, types of dyslexia. We'll talk about the genetics, okay, aspects. So, please do not forget, the neurodivergent, they are not dullars. They are just individuals. They are right brain. They try to use their right brain. So, unfortunately for them, reading is a left brain ability. So, you can say they are not dull people. They are not dull people. Yes.
There's one I even discovered among the mashers.
Okay.
We've been trying for the past 1 year now to bring the best out of her. But when we invited her to join the mashers, I discovered she's among the best
Can you imagine?
mashers on the land. As young as she is, I was even surprised that
This girl, honestly,
So to tell you that truly everybody has their own gifts.
honestly.
But there is a question I want to ask. What really affected those that usually use left hands to write? And they were being forced by their teachers to use right hand.
Yes.
Why is it left hand affects their brain
Very good.
whenever it's being forced to change to right?
Yes. My daughter, my second daughter, Fadeke, she attended this Montessori school when I was still in Lagos. When I told her that she's left brain, I was so happy. Because I don't know why people use left hand are naturally intelligent. On the average, look at Obama uses left hand. Fashola, okay, uses left hand. In football, look at Messi. Okay, some individuals have been observed. And unfortunately, for the brain blind teacher, forced my daughter to be using right hand. It was too late for me to rediscover. But I said, oh no, let us say my teacher. So now she now uses both hands. When I was training one of the batches, there's a proprietress. When the topic got to stop like this, she called me. She said, Mr. Leader, do you know that in my school, and now I've told all the teachers never to force a child who is using, I'm telling you true life story. I said, why? He said, Father, do you know, when I was speaking to her, extremely intelligent woman, she said, do you know that when I was the best student when I was in primary school, but my teacher now forced me, no, I was primary or secondary school, one of my teachers now forced me to be using my right hand. So in my life, that was the first time I failed. So that was the first time I failed. That later on, she started reading. You know that she's extremely intelligent. She started reading and she discovered that the reason why she failed. And she had been asking this question, I have experienced, why did I fail once? She was able to connect that failure with when the teacher changed her hand. So the brain, there's something called neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to change itself due to profound experience. But the brain needed to adjust. Exams came, and before you know it, she failed. So she said in her school that every teacher knows that you must not alter the writing hand or the either left or right hand, and you must not toy with it. So then, naturally, if you are born a right-handed person, this is it. Okay, this the left hemisphere controls the right part of the brain, while the right the right hemisphere controls the left hand of the brain. That is why, if somebody suffers stroke, if that person has stroke, if the stroke is somehow right hemisphere kind of position, you discover the person is going to lose, or sorry, they lost the function of the left hand. So the corpus callosum, okay, it is just bundle of neurons that try to, each of the hemisphere have their own independent, but they work together hand in hand to achieve a particular goal. But for the right hemisphere living person, everything is, they always use the right. But according for them, writing, reading, and others, they are left hemisphere. That is, the brain has actually reasoned, okay, this activity, which part of the brain should it be? And you know, the years of evolution, and reading is just a kind of, it's a new invention. Reading began about 6,000 to 5,000 years ago. So the brain, okay, tried after all these years. Now the brain now reason for efficiency's sake. Okay, let reading be located in the left hemisphere. But so those people who are dyslexic, they are right brain. They can, the powers. Let me share this. The other boy, Kende, twins. The other girl, Taiwo, the best student in her class. But Kende has dyslexia. But when I went through his results, I was trying to see, yes, it should be performing poorly. And I look at it, yes, any child who does not know how to read and write, how will the child understand English? How will the child understand? You understand? So, do you know that when I was conducting this screening, then it got to this word memory. I gave him about 10 words, dictation. So I wrote it down. Then I collected it from him. I said, Kennedy, tell me, how many words can you remember from those 10 words? You know what he did? Always, I saw it practically. He closed his eyes. I said, mentioning them one after the other. That's to show you that this guy has the powers of imagination, his strongest cognitive ability. He possesses it. That's why they find that he cannot do it, he cannot spell. That's why you see companies like Microsoft and others. They want people who can think the unthinkable. They want people who can. That was what he did. He closed his eyes and he was able to see those words. And imagination is what? Is located in the right part of the brain. Imagination, music, okay, things that are connected to emotions, they are situated in the right hand side of the brain. That is why you see people who are dyslexic, they can invent things, they can draw. Okay, they end up becoming good architects and others. Do you know that Albert Einstein was also what, a neurodivergent? In fact, they said he had delayed articulation, speech. And this guy is the most, he was one who said that imagination is better than knowledge. Because knowledge is limited, but imagination has no boundaries. And this was somebody who had found it very difficult to read and write when he was in school. People like the greatest businessman in the entire world, in the history of the world, Richard Branson, somebody who has close to 400 companies. One single man has close to 400 companies. The guy left school because he could not read and write. So are you saying that person is not intelligent? Somebody who could successfully build almost close to 400 companies. And he could not read and write. He left school just to pursue his passion. And his passion has to do with entrepreneurship. You know, entrepreneurs are individuals who can, they are powerful problem solvers. That's why these companies want them. America now wants to bring in both the left hemisphere driven individuals and the right hemisphere driven talent. There are complex problems in the world today. Problems like poverty, COVID-19, climate change. Do you know that America and some other institutes, they are gathering the dyslexic brains? Because they are the individuals, they said they can think, they have the powers of imagination, they can see patterns. You can give them data, raw data, they will look at it like this, and they will be able to tell you that okay, this thing is like this. So America wants to really explore not only the left brain people, they want to combine it with the right brain so that problems that America faces and the world faces, these people will be able to provide solutions. Do not forget, this dyslexic that you and I think they are dull people, they make good programmers. They make good coders. In fact, now they are the leaders in cyber security. But you and I think that they are dumb. I saw when I was conducting that training, I saw different people, the talents that the fourth industrial economy needs are the dyslexic individuals. I used to know how to read and write. We want people who can think. If you look at climate change, just suddenly you don't discover that everywhere is so hot. And for all these years, we've been trying to find solution to climate change. Now, we are now looking for individuals with dyslexic brains, because they are great problem solvers. Any question before I go into the then there's a video that I did that if your child cannot read and write, rejoice. My friend, when I was in university, said, how can you say my child cannot read and write, then I should rejoice? You just about what? There's a guy too who watched my video. He's a school owner. Do you know what I'm saying? See inside there, I watched that video and I discovered that yes, you have these graphs of the field. I am also having ADHD and all those things that you talked about, the strength of the neurodivergent. And I don't experience them. So the video is so fantastic and fantastic. So I have both YouTube channel and Facebook where I share knowledge that is connected to educational neuroscience. So your time is not dull, please. But this is it. Sorry, let me please say this. In America, it is discovered that in all the subjects, all the courses that you did, you got A's. But in reading, you failed it. Do you know that there are some institutions in America that waive that failure in reading? Just because of America is a kind of a sophisticated society, and they are beginning to understand the fact that somebody who got 9 A's and just failed 1, you decided to say no, the person must repeat. What they're doing is that because of this dyslexia, in fact, in all the states in America, there's something called the dyslexia law. There's a law in America too that covers, it's called IDAIA. Disability Education Act. And this disability has to do covers dyslexic, okay, autistic, etc. These people, they are the gift of the 21st century. They are not dumb. It's just because they think differently. They have a different, their brains are wired differently. We cannot all be just left brain. But the education system promotes and celebrates the left hemisphere driven learners and others. Those who can 100, and those who score maybe a 2 or 4, not knowing that they are the solutions to the complex problems of the world. Now, basically there are 2 types of dyslexia. The first one is called the developmental dyslexia. Okay. You can just, the acronym for it is just DAD. I call it DAD. Okay, developmental and acquired dyslexia. So that you always remember that there are basically 2 types. DAD. Now let's talk about the developmental dyslexia. It is, I think she has just, the proprietors talked about genetics. If one of them is dyslexic, the probability will become higher that you might end up becoming dyslexic. Or if you have somebody in the family who was dyslexic, so the chances become higher that you also might be dyslexic. Genetics is extremely important. My dad is not fair. My mother is not. People have been asking, where did you get this your complexion? For like my first daughter, she's like this. Then Ronke, one of my cousins, we are 3 in the entire Adedeman family that we look alike. Look at, out of numerous children, 3 genetics. Because of our great grandmother, who was a Fulani. So you can see the power of the genetics. So you can see it. So the developmental dyslexia has to do with the inherited dyslexia. It is gene-induced. It is gene-induced. But please, there is not one gene for dyslexia. It is a kind of, it is an aggregation of so many genes, that lead to developmental dyslexia. So you can say that developmental dyslexia is as a result of family inheritance. It is a kind of an inherited trait. Then let's talk about the acquired. What you're writing. So the acquired dyslexia, it just simply is quite different. There are factors that can contribute to the acquired dyslexia. 1, there is something, if the language, let's come back to that, my analogy again. Do you know that most people who end up having acquired dyslexia, it is because of what? They have very tiny language system in their brain. Because a very strong language system in your brain will serve as a pillar, for what? For the evolution of reading. So if you have very tiny language architecture in your brain, you might end up having dyslexia. That is 1. 2, if your parents, when you were growing up, if they did not expose you to different printed materials, if they don't tell you, maybe if your parents didn't tell you stories, these bedtime stories, if your parents did not read to you, if your parents don't have a library at home where you have access to newspapers, books and others, it has the capacity of doing what? Of making you susceptible to acquire dyslexia. If you attend a very substandard school, where the system of teaching is so poor, you might end up doing what? Having dyslexia. There are so many factors that can do what leads to acquired dyslexia. Like I don't know if I've shared my own story. That when I was in primary 3, just because of my background, my father was a soldier from one barracks to the other. So when we came to the West, then I could speak Fulani. I could speak Hausa. Akwai Hausa no? Does anybody know how to speak Hausa? Okay, can I give Kanakada? I need to say the one I hear for us to say about me. That's why I try to, anytime I come across someone who is Hausa, that would be my own people. So I interact with them, and the reason is this, so that I will not forget Hausa language. I've forgotten Fulani, very painful. Exactly, I've forgotten it now. But when I was 7, I was posted to Bombay. There was this girl, when she saw me, she was saying, Tiwa today. Okay, this, Fulani are very beautiful, very beautiful lady. From Golda, but when she saw me, she was speaking it, she was telling other people, our owners come to serve in our state. But I've forgotten Fulani, so Bana, I don't want to really forget Hausa language. So there are so many factors that can really contribute to acquired dyslexia. Now, we've discussed dyslexia and so many other things. Sorry? Definitely. In fact, you call it child abuse. Okay, they call it this acute infant